Hey there, welcome to your part two of your training on The Price is Right. We have lots more events to share with you and suggested pricing on them. Last time I went over a good 30 minutes on just explaining why we want to really focus on our pricing and why pricing is so important. So hopefully you keep all of that in mind as I continue to teach you on ways to be able to price your classes. When we're doing this, we're looking for sales and profit. We want both of them. I don't want to sacrifice profit for sales, and I'm certainly not going to sacrifice my sales for profit. You can have both of them. So we're going to give you lots of good pricing strategies today for lots of different events. So we've already covered, if you missed part one, we covered our card classes, which are one of our most basics, the workshops, and the product-based classes. If you have customers that do not spend, that do not place orders, then you need to adapt product-based classes into your schedule because then they have to order just by coming and attending your class. We also covered stamp camps, which are super fun. And now it is time to focus on retreats. Running retreats in your business, that's one of my most favorite events. It is one that is a huge foundational part of my business besides just my monthly card classes and normal classes. The years, just kind of give you a little bit of a background on retreats. I started doing them about 8 or 9 years ago. Oh, more than that, it's been 10 years because I started it before I even had my last child, and he's 9 now. Actually, one of my retreats, I was pregnant, and the next retreat, he came with us as a newborn baby. So we've never missed one. We do them every 6 months, and now, to this point, I do them 4 times a year, full weekend retreats, and then we also do them just one-day retreats, and I do them online. So it's an awesome foundation. So we're going to cover about how that's one thing to consider. So let's start off with retreats. Today I actually brought some visuals for you to see because you're in my studio, so there's some things I can actually show you. Since these are events that I really do and I really teach on and train on, I do have some samples to show you. So the beauty of a retreat is that you do get sales from these. When you price your retreat just a flat fee and you don't include anything, it's really very rare that you get sales. I see people who complain all the time about, oh, I don't do retreats because there's so much work and I don't make any sales and I don't make very much money. And I'm like, oh boy, you are just not pricing them right because they bring me in an extraordinary amount of sales and I make a lot of money at them. And so do the people that I teach and train if they follow this business model. The other thing is that once your retreats are full, they are full. They never go down. Anyone that I have trained and taught and they start their retreats, it may take a little bit to get them going because people just don't know what they're missing. But as soon as you get them going, they do not ever move backwards. They only stay full and then get even more full. So that's an exciting thing so you know that when you work on this and you establish it into your business, that it is going to give you a future that you want to have in your business. So you don't have to worry about where your sale is going to come from. I know before the quarter even starts that I'm going to have a substantial amount of sales just because of my retreats that I have during that time of year. All right, so what's the most important thing in a retreat is a goodie bag. The goodie bag is how not only do you get your sales, but you also do your make and takes. So let's start first with a one-day retreat. This is a little less daunting than a full weekend one, and you don't always have to rent a space for this. Now, most people do. They might use like a church hall or a local community center hall. They can use schools, their cafeterias. You can do it in your own studio if you have the space. I know people do them in their barns or their garages, or they rent out like American Legions. So you find a hall of some sort. But what you need are tables, obviously. You have to be able to have rectangle tables. That's the most important piece to have. By perfect case scenario, they would have 6-foot tables. But you could do them with 8-foot tables as well, and you would have 2 people share it, so they each would get a 4-foot table space. I do my one-day retreats here in my studio, if you can see behind me, but my tables are 4-foot tables, and for a one-day retreat, that is plenty. For a full weekend retreat, we're going to want at least 6-foot tables, but for a one-day, you might not need to rent a location. You might be able to do it wherever you do your classes if you have enough tables and enough space. If not, just start looking for a hall to be able to rent. And you're going to be charging your people whatever it costs to rent that hall. So if it costs $200, that's okay. If you have 20 people and you charge them each $10, it will pay for that hall rental. So let's jump in. Make sure you have printed off your handbook and you're looking at this along with me. I'm going to follow it along with you, and you can take notes. And remember, this is a handbook you'll be able to keep forever to be able to refer back to. So make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're, if you have questions you want to ask me or whatever, this is a place for you to be able to answer and ask all of that. So when we're figuring out our budget, the pricing on a one-day retreat, we want to make sure that we have a goodie bag in there. And for a one-day, it's typically $25. You're going to include like a pack of paper, a bolt of ribbon, an embellishment, and maybe an adhesive. That's what you would typically include. Now they're going to use this product for their make and takes. So for your make and take, really all you have to supply is just some cardstock, maybe a couple half sheets of cardstock, and then, that's it. So your supply cost, your expense into make and takes is really nothing, because you can get that even off of your host rewards. So the cost of the goodie bag is the supplies that they will use on those make and takes. The table rental is $10. I call it a table rental. It's what they're paying. They're paying to rent that table, but really what they're renting is the spot in that room. So I do $10 for a one-day retreat, because on average, you can usually get a hall for $100. And if you have 10 people, it covers that. Some people, if you need to have 20 people, your hall might be $200. And then you're going to want to charge, again, it's a $10 kind of a table fee to go in there. The next are your pillow gifts. Pillow gifts are very important for a one-day retreat and a full weekend retreat. This is one of the reasons why I believe I stay full. This is what sets us apart from other companies who do retreats, or just crops, they call them, is we spoil them and give them presents. And we do, for a one day, we usually do 3 pillow gifts, one in the morning when they get there, one in the afternoon after lunch, and then one as we're saying goodbye to them, so that they have a little token of a gift to give. I actually have got some sample ones here I'm going to show you, just from my last summer retreat that I did. The next is food. For a one day, I figure in $10. And I will tell you, I do Subway for lunch and pizza for dinner, and I stay well within, usually it's about $9 for that. And then I have a little bit of a buffer to get some snacks out there for the one-day retreat. I don't go fancy on food. If you want to go fancy on food, then you might need to increase your food budget. If you do your own food, if you want to make soup and salad and like bread for lunch, and you make your own pulled pork sandwiches for dinner, or you do that yourself, you would probably come in less than that. So I just do simple and do Subway for lunch. It's about $5 a person. And I do pizza and breadsticks and salad for dinner, and it's about $4 a person. So just keeps it really simple. I do give a no food option, because so many people this day and age are glucose intolerant, gluten-free, they have allergies, or they're just dieting and don't want to eat carbs. They're all keto, or everybody has something different. So I give a no food option. I don't take requests for food. I'm providing Subway and pizza. And if that doesn't work for you, then you are more than welcome to bring your own meals, and I will take $10 off of the cost of your retreat. So the total cost for a one day, and then I have a $10 profit per person. So even before you start your event, if you had 20 people, you're making $200 in cash just for that. So, and do not leave this out. This is where a lot of demonstrators don't pay themselves like this. You need to leave that in there, because retreats are a lot of work to prepare for. The week or two beforehand, you're going to be mass producing the pillow gifts. You're going to be That's pretty much the most time-consuming part of it. And cutting for the make and takes. You need to pay for your time. Plus, you're going to be there all day. You're going to be there for 12 hours usually. Usually these go from 9 in the morning until 9 at night. So make sure you're paying yourself. So a total cost for a one-day retreat is $60. Or I'll do it for $50 if they would like to bring their own meals. Now, how you get paid for this too is not just your $10, but you also get your volume rebate from your goodie bag. So again, if you have 20 people, you're looking at over a $500 order that you're putting in. Plus, you're also putting in you're getting your volume rebate off of that. Now, at every one-day retreat, at any full retreat that I do, I always put an order form on their seat, and I give everybody free shipping that day. So if they choose to put in an order, they get free shipping, but the order has to go in by the end of the retreat. So I will usually get more sales because they'll spend that time playing with all of my stuff, and their wish list grows very, very long over a retreat. Okay, so that's how I would price and recommend in pricing, and you can see the profit that you would get for a one-day retreat. Now there is also the full weekend retreat. This is where they come in on a Friday and they leave on a Sunday. Some demonstrators even start on a Thursday and go through a Sunday. Personally, I start at 2 o'clock on Friday and go to 2 o'clock on Sunday. That's just my personal timing. So again, this is more like a formula for both of these. You need to plug in your actual real figures. So you can't just go take my pricing and say, here you go, here's a price. I don't know how much your hotel is going to cost, and I don't know how much your food is going to cost. It all depends on where you hold your event. So this is more of a formula that you're going to follow where you can plug in the pricing. So a goodie bag for a full weekend retreat is $50. Again, I'll show you an example of what one might look like here in a minute. I do include a bag for this one, and it's a $5 is my budget for a bag. The table rental is $20 a person. Renting for a full weekend is usually done at a hotel or it's done at a retreat center, and those are much more expensive. So on average, a hotel is about $800 to be able to rent out that whole big space. You can get them for cheaper, but they probably would only hold about 20 to 25 people. So my table rental is $20 per person. And that if I have at least 40 people, then that pays for my $800 room rental that I have. And the room, my room is actually only $600, but then there's 18% service charge, and then there's tax, and we have coffee and tea service, so it actually comes to $800. So that is why I charge $20 for a table rental. Now, if your room is $1,000, you're going to charge $25. So do you see what I'm saying? And if your room is $500, you can bring it down to $15 if you want to. But this is an average. Then you have your pillow gifts. For a full weekend retreat, my pillow gifts are at $10. They're $10 because I'll show you. We do 5 pillow gifts for a full weekend retreat. One on Friday when they get there, Friday night. One on Saturday morning when they wake up, I have it on their little seat. And then one before they go to bed on Saturday, and then one on Sunday as they're leaving. All right, I have a really big snack budget for full weekend retreats because people stay up all night and they get very snacky. They want a lot of salt and sugar to help keep them up through the night. So I have a candy bar buffet, and then I also do a lot of chips and cookies, and I also now do a veggie tray and some other healthy options as well. We do protein bars. We do a lot of protein type things as well, peanuts, almonds, plus candy. So my snack budget here is $5 a person. It is generous, but I've learned I had to raise that. I used to only take $1 or $2, and snacks were gone like that after the first night. So now my snack budget is up to $5 a person. I also like to do cupcakes on one of the nights, and so that helps. That's a part of that as well. Okay, my food budget, the food budget, mine is $25. Now, I get to bring in my own food. If you have to use the hotel food, I can tell you it's going to be very expensive. So always do with food option and without food option. It's very important that people have the flexibility to bring their own meals and keep the price down. Or if they just have allergies or food eating issues, they're going to want to bring their own meals. So your food is what it is. Some hotels that actually have restaurants, you can not include the meals at all. They're on their own. They can go eat whenever they want to. They pay for it on their own. They can bring in their own food. They can go out to eat. I would say on average, less than half get the meal plan because they love the flexibility to eat whatever they want, when they want. They eat dinner at 7 o'clock at night and they order it in and have it delivered, or they decide, hey, let's go get some fresh air, we'll go eat somewhere. Or they will just a lot of them bring their own food in and keep it in the fridge. So I would say less than half of my retreat attendees usually actually do the meals. But I do have a $25 food budget for the full weekend, and that is for 2 dinners and 1 lunch. So my dinners are about $9 a piece, and my lunch is about $6 a piece. And for here, I usually do like Olive Garden, and I do a local Mexican restaurant. Those are my 2 favorite go-tos. Or I also do, on Friday night, I do a pizza. But it's like a gourmet pizza, and we do a big salad and breadsticks and pop, or soda, whatever you guys call it, wherever the place you are in the world. So my food budget is actually, I think, on the very low end. So a lot of people who have their meals at restaurants, per dinner, it could be $20 a person. So in those cases, I usually wouldn't include meals. I would say the meals are on their own if there's local places that they're able to eat. If you do it at a retreat center, a lot of times the meals are included in the cost. So your cost might be just broken out a little bit differently. So your table rental and your food might be in the same chunk of what you're going to charge per person. All right, your profit. I have down here $34 per profit per person. Yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. And I'm telling you right now, it is worth every penny. Do not take away your profit to try to make this cheaper. It doesn't need to be any cheaper. You are giving a very quality event. They're having a beautiful goodie bag, all the pillow gifts, the snacks, the food, the make and takes. We usually do about 6 make and takes. So you want to make sure that you are paying for your time. You have to work there. Friday morning until Sunday late afternoon. You're giving up all 3 of those days with your family. And then to prepare for these takes a lot of time to do the pillow gifts. Now, I pay someone to help me with my pillow gifts. I compensate them. So that also, I have to pay for that as well. So make sure, this is a $34 profit in there per person. So do the math. If you have 40 people that come, you're making over $1,200 cash in your pocket. So don't tell me retreats don't make you money. They make you a lot of money, but they are a lot of work. So it's okay to make money doing this. It's actually very, very okay. So a total cost for a weekend retreat is $149. And that is how much they pay you. Now, this does not include their hotel stay. Their hotel stay is on their own if you're staying at a hotel. Again, if you have a retreat center cost, so when I was at a retreat center, my cost was $229 per person. And that's because I had to pay their hotel cost. So if you have a retreat center, you might have to add on another $100 on top of this to pay for how much it's going to cost for them to pay for those rooms that they have to rent. So a hotel, they pay for their own hotel, they make the hotel reservations, they find their own roommates. That's all on them. I do negotiate a really good blocked rate deal for them, though. I can guarantee 10 rooms or usually 15 rooms, and they give us a really good blocked rate. So as just an example, and I negotiate all of that. I'm like, listen, you can negotiate with hotels. But if you, as an example, our hotel, the rooms are usually $139 or $169, and we get them for $89.95 a night. So we get a pretty significant discount. Okay, the other thing that is that you can do is to do add-on classes, optional extra classes. So at a one-day retreat, I usually offer 2 optional classes, and they're $25 a piece, and they are product-based. So they include like a stamp set, or they include a pack of paper, and well, I'll show you. So here's a class that I did at one of my retreats this summer. It included a pack of paper, and included a bolt of ribbon and some twine, and then they made 6 cards. So that's an example of a product-based class for a retreat. Another one, here's one as well. It is included a stamp set, and then they made 5 cards. So they're not complicated projects. The projects are all very duplicatable. And then the products that they need, this is just a more way for you to be able to increase your sales. So your goodie bag is just the beginning of your sales. You can get more sales by offering the free shipping coupon if they order there. And then I also get more sales by the optional extra classes that they can take while we're there. I also allow them to sign up to have kits waiting at their table for them. And I also sell a lot of kits there. So all of our Simply Sent kits, our soft sayings, our notes of kindness, our Oh Happy Day. I have all of those there that they can purchase, or they can pre-order them, and I have them sitting there waiting for them, so they're guaranteed. For a full weekend retreat, I do 5 optional classes. 1 on Friday night, 3 on Saturday, and then 1 on Sunday morning. So optional classes can add on anywhere from $500 to $1,500 extra in sales for that same weekend that I'm there. Now, obviously, you have to be able to prep for those beforehand, so that's it's a little bit more work, but you're getting a lot more sales out of it. Things to consider when you are running a retreat. The first thing is finding a location is the first step. You can't set a budget until you find a location, because you've got to find one that you can work with. Before you can accurately market or form a budget, you will need to find a location, either a hotel or a retreat center, or the hall if you're just going to do a one-day. A lot of my training clients start with just a one-day retreat first, so that you can just jump right in. You do need to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to schedule these, because they're on a weekend. So people need to have plenty enough time to be able to set that day aside and mark it off their calendar. I recommend at least 3 to 6 months to advertise for a retreat properly. These are awesome to add to your business on a consistent basis. I can't explain that enough and encourage enough that you got to jump in and get these started. Once you get them established, it is such a beautiful, consistent part of your business, and it will increase your sales huge once you get these going. But sometimes it takes a year or 2 to establish your reputation of running awesome retreats. So these are great to get going. The third thing is maybe you're a smaller demonstrator and you have a smaller customer base. Then maybe to get these started, you can't afford to rent a hall or because you might only have 6 or 7 people. Sometimes you can start these right in your studio if you have the space, kind of like we talked about a stamp camp. If you have to, don't rent a hall, start right in your studio, and then until you grow, and then you can afford to rent a hall. Or you can partner. So all my first retreats that I ever did, there was 4 of us who partnered together. And then we eventually went down to 2. And now that I can even run them on my own, I still have a partner, because it just makes them so much less work and a lot more fun. But you can partner with it with a downline or a sideline to make it more affordable. So you could afford to rent a hotel, so you have enough people between the 2 of you. So you can always start there if you're afraid you wouldn't be able to fill it up yourself. All right, so there's retreats. Let me show you really quick. Okay, so for a full weekend retreat, I always include like a goodie bag. This is my last goodie bag that I did. I get my bags from discountmugs.com. So discount and then mugs.com. I get them within a good price range because I do order them in bulk. If you want to, you can look for bags other places online. My son has an Etsy store where he sells these too, because I can buy them in bulk, and then he can sell the leftovers on there. And they're about $5 or $6 a piece on there. So anyway, that's just an idea for you. But I always include a bag, and your bag can be whatever you want it to be, but I always include a bag. And then usually it would be like a pack of paper. This is my actual summer retreat. I had 1 set left over. And then we had some make and take. So these were some of the make and takes that they had. And they got a set of page protectors because they made a little mini album. It was one of their projects. They had the Memories and More kit. They also had the 2-pack of the ribbon. I couldn't find one ribbon left. I don't know where the rest of the ribbon is. So that was their goodie bag. And there are, okay, wait a minute, here it is. So a part of their goodie bag was the pack of the ribbon, but I stored it into this little tin. So even though this was in the $50 cost, I gave it to them as this was one of their pillow gifts. So in the tin we made little note cards. So they made little note cards as one of their make and takes. So here was one of their pillow gifts. When they checked in, here was one of their pillow gifts. I always look for cute little, all year long, I look for cute little things. And this is called a little Woozy bottle, and it was like 75 cents. And then we made a little belly band, and I have little M&Ms in there. Usually, I found I had little glasses made for them. So this was one of their pillow gifts, and you can see some are more expensive and something like this is less expensive. So the doilies, again, were a part of that $50 goodie bag. And their pillow gift, though, is the little pouch. And then I just put that in there. So when you give it to them, it has some really pretty presentation. So this was one of their gifts. And then on the other gifts, I always usually do like a box or something, and there's candy inside. So here's like a little box. And then inside was some candy. So that was one of their pillow gifts. So the pillow gifts are usually something that they can keep and take, like the cup, or I'll make like a scissor charm, or we'll do like a little bag tag or something, because everybody has the same bags. So there's an idea of like what a retreat would look like. Now, a one-day retreat, I would just do 3 of those pillow gifts, and then it would be half the size of the goodie bag. So I might do just the pack of paper and the ribbon and the doilies, and that would have been it. So they wouldn't have gotten the tin, they wouldn't have gotten the page protectors and some of those things. So I would, you're going to want to make sure that you're keeping it within that $25 budget. All right, so there's a retreats. Now let's move on to the next one, which is private classes. So private classes probably should have went up with the card class and the workshop, because a private class is just like a workshop and just like a card class, kind of mixed together. So this is for my more avid customers who want me to come to them and give them a private class. So as you can see, these are basically total hands-on workshops. I usually do 4 cards, and they only make 4. When they come to my class, they make more than that because they're coming here. But when I have to drive to them and bring everything to them, and they get just me privately, then they only make 4 cards. The typical pricing for this is $15 or free with a minimum purchase for 4 cards. And they have to purchase at least $25, and then it's free. You provide all the supplies and the envelopes, so you provide the adhesive as well, and that's also why I charge $15 for just 4 cards, is because if I'm providing that adhesive, it's a lot more expensive. So that is a private class. I come to them, I package everything up, I will make little, I'll have packets for each person with their supplies in there and their envelopes, and then I do a brief demonstration of the 4 cards. And then they jump in and I help them. And the biggest thing is that we still do a door prize form and a catalog tour. And we talk about our hobby and why people would want to get involved with card making, and how we benefit the hostess. The hostess brought us here today because with all of your orders put together, she will get free product. So you can pay me $15 if you want to for your cards, or you get them for free when you order tonight. So when you order, your hostess gets free stuff, and you get your cards for free, and you get to get the fun product. So here are some things to consider with your private class. This requires a hostess. Okay, otherwise it's just a class. But this is a private class. You need a hostess to invite her friends. This is an awesome way for you to find new customers because you're building the relationship. If the hostess trusts you to invite you in her house, that means you're not creepy. That means everybody there is going to trust you automatically because their friend trusted you. So they almost become immediate customers. So this is one of the best ways for you to find new customers. You got to find that hostess. Hostess coaching is imperative. And I also do invitations for this, so people know it's $15 at night, or it's free if they order. So some people might come with an order in mind, or they might, at least they know they're coming and they're at least paying $15. This is not a free event. I do recommend doing the brief demonstration to start off with, so you can upsell our hobby, our products, and get them to order. So what you saw, I kind of gave you my spiel that I do. and also to really fill out the door prize form so you have their information so you can follow up afterwards with a thank you card. I keep the demonstration to about 20 minutes because they're going to need a good hour to do the stamping, and I want to leave them time to order. So I tell them that they can stamp or order, either one. And if a table is full, because we set up 4 different stations and then they rotate amongst the 4 stations. Now, if it's a smaller house, then you could do just at one table and you do a monkey see, monkey do. So you would maybe start this half of the table on one card and this half of the table on that card, and then they would switch afterwards. So that works too, and you could get about 4 cards done in about 2 hours with that scenario as well. So that is a private class. They work, and all you gotta do is ask. I hear all the time, nobody wants to book parties. Nobody wants to book. I hear that a lot. But let me tell you, there are still a lot of demonstrators out there who are booking parties and are being very successful. The only thing is you just don't see it because they're not posting them online because they're doing more face-to-face events. And there's still a lot of home parties. I've been invited to lots of them the last month. I went to a painting one, a palette one. I've been to jewelry. I just went to I've been to a lot of Mary Kay ones lately, and there's lots of home parties, and we still have a lot of fun. You just need to market it and offer it, and think about the fun aspect of getting your friends together and you being the entertainment for the night. Okay, so that's private classes. That's the pricing structure I would suggest. Now remember, in the very beginning, I told you last week, if you are in a different country, you have to make your own pricing. So you might, if you're in Canada, you're going to be doing $20. If you're in the UK, you might be doing £12. If you're in Australia or the South Pacific, you might be doing, $30 and then free with the certain size order. So just make sure that you're making your own conversions. The next one is a fun one called Stampin' Bingo. A lot of people do bingo now. We've been training on it for probably 10 years. We love bingo. We have a lot of fun with it. So to begin with, I want to clarify this is a class. They're not signing up for bingo. They're signing up for a class. I call it Stampin' Up Bingo. And it is a class where we play bingo for fun. So we're not gambling. They're not paying to gamble. They are paying for their make and takes. And I just choose to take a lot of their money and put it towards product. They're paying for their class. And so you don't need a gaming license. When I do my son's Christmas parties, guess what? They play every year. Bingo. And I don't think the teacher has a gambling license for there either, and she gives out prizes too. So this is for fun. It's not a gambling thing. People aren't getting paid. They aren't making money. It's not like I'm taking people's money and giving out money. So that's not what it is. They're paying for the projects. Okay, so typically we play 6 games of bingo. And 3 of the prizes you're going to give away are about $10 to $15 a piece. So it might be like a pack of paper, might be a Clearmount stamp set, might be a Hostess set, something like that. And then you're going to take a break, and we do our 3 make and takes, and then we get back together and play 3 more games of bingo. And these are like the fun games of bingo, like we do the outside picture frame, we do like an X, we'll do like an L, like a crazy L. So if you've ever been to bingo, you know what those mean. If you don't, that was probably just a foreign language that I told to you. But there's fun games of bingo. So it's not just a regular game of bingo. It is like they have to do something fun on their board. Then we play those 3 more, and those prizes are about $20 to $30 a piece. Or I might do like a bundle, and then one that may be like a pack of paper with a bolt of ribbon and an embellishment. Your prizes will all be dependent upon how many people attend. So the more people you have, the bigger prizes that you have. I still only do 6 games of bingo, so I still only do have 6 prizes, but they're a lot bigger and they're worth a lot more when you have more people. So the suggested cost for a bingo event is $30, and they have to pay for that in advance because you have to order the prizes in advance, and you use their $30 to pay for the prizes. It's very key. If you want your bingo to boost your business and give you sales, then you need to make sure you're using brand new product that you're ordering, not just things you have laying around your stamp room. Okay, so here's how we break out this budget. $15 per person goes into a new catalog order per person for the prizes. So it's not everybody gets prizes. It's bingo. It is, whoever gets bingo wins. By the way, I do have a 2-game maximum winning per person. So after they've won 2 games, then they don't get to win again. I give them like a little consolation prize, like a pack of cards or something. But I only let them win twice. You'll be surprised. When some people are lucky, they're lucky. They may win like 4 games of bingo, and then that really bursts everybody else's bubble. But so you take the $15 for, let's say you have 10 people coming. 10 is like the perfect amount. If you have 10 people, then you get to order $165 worth of prizes, $150 and what you've collected, and then the $15 of host rewards as well. So there's some good prizes that you can have there. Then everybody gets a little swag bag. So this way everybody gets something for coming. So my last little swag bag was a bolt of ribbon and some dimensionals. The one before that was just a pack of paper. It was like just something that's product based and that's fun, and it's always new out of the catalog. So now I'm getting $25 of product that I'm ordering per person. You can even do the clearance rack. So the clearance rack has a pack of paper and a bolt of ribbon and maybe an embellishment for $10. Everybody gets that. So we call it a swag bag. I actually believe I got that name from Erica Serwin, or a goodie bag. But for bingo, we call it a swag bag. And then we use those 3 things are what I use on their make and takes, so that they're got something that they're going to open it and use it, and I get to take all the leftovers home. Now that doesn't work if you're using clearance rack merchandise. Whenever I do the make and takes at any event, they have to be using new, exciting product that people are going to want to order. And then there is also included in that cost a $5 coupon that night. Now everyone will use it, so for them you make extra $5. But it's a $5 coupon that they can use off any size order that night. So if their order is $25, you take off the $5 and you add it up like normal. So, but here's the deal. You're collecting the $5. So it's not costing you anything to offer that. They're giving it to you. You've got the $5. So it is not costing you anything, but it's a great way for you to get additional sales that night. So can you tell, for every person that comes, you're going to get a $25 order to start with. So if you have 10 people, that your sales before the night even starts is $250. And then you also get sales that night with the $5 coupon. So your total cost of the night is $30. You get paid your instant income, your volume rebate, and that's how you get paid. Now, here we go. Here's things to consider. You need at least 6 attendees to even make this work. Anything less than 6, then you really don't have enough prizes. So to make the math work, 6 is about the minimum that I would like to have. I love to have 10. And of course, the more you have, then a lot bigger the prizes will be. Make sure you collect your payment in advance and enough time so you can order the prizes. I love bingo because it's so easy to get ready for. You just got to order the prizes, and then you have 3 simple make and takes. I only give them about a half an hour to make their make and takes, so maybe 45 minutes. So they're really simple and easy. With any leftover host rewards, I'll get some fun door prizes too. So if I have more than 10 people, then I might have just some extra host rewards, and I might get like a couple hostess sets and use those as like door prizes. So I'll do like some fun door prizes throughout the night as well. Any orders placed that night, the host rewards goes to the person who won the coverall. So the very last game is the grand prize game. It's the coverall. You can actually sell additional boards for $5. Then I take all those $5 and that goes towards an order. So whoever wins the coverall, the whole jackpot, they get the prize on the table, plus they get to get the $5 that I've collected. So like I'm going to say as an example, my last one I sold 10 extra boards. So I collected $50 extra. So the person who won the coverall got that, plus they got the host rewards from any orders that were collected that night. So the jackpot's a fun one. And all of that just counts towards more and more sales for you. And that means more profit because you're getting paid your instant income, your volume rebate, and you're getting paid, your instant income and your volume rebate. So that's just more of an increased income for you. All right. And then the $5 coupon is off any size order, and it really helps get additional sales that evening. It helps the person who's getting the jackpot coverall, and then it helps you, obviously. All right, there's your Stampin' Bingo. Next event, and encouraging on pricing, is a Stamp-A-Stack. I love Stamp-A-Stacks. Been doing them for 12 years. Just did one last week. So I still do them. Love them. These are very popular classes. For people who adapt Stamp-A-Stacks into their business, they usually stay there. They're very popular. So let's give you some pricing on a typical Stamp-A-Stack. There are definitely variations. In Canada, a typical Stamp-A-Stack has 4 cards. They make 3 of each. That's also the same in the UK. So to you guys, 12 in one night is a lot of cards. Here in the States, we usually do 16 or 20 cards for a Stamp-A-Stack. I go on the smaller side with 16, but I know a lot of demonstrators who do Stamp-A-Stacks, and they do 5 different cards, 4 of each, or 4 different cards, 5 of each. So we're going to settle on the 16 number because it's kind of in between both the 12 amount or the 16 amount. So a typical Stamp-A-Stack has 4 different cards, and you're just cutting. It's just the thing is your designing time is still only designing 4 cards. Even though they're making 16, your design time is not very much because you're only having to design 4 cards. 4 of these each, so you make a total of 16 cards. A Stamp-A-Stack includes a lot of cardstock and envelopes. So that's already kind of a product-based class because you got to order so much cardstock and envelopes per person. And then for 4 cards, they go through a lot of embellishment. So there's a lot of supplies on this. So there's 2 pricing structures that I recommend for this one. One is a $30 order. Both Stamp-A-Stacks pricing structures I would start at $30. So if someone just pays you the fee, then that's, again, you're getting about a $15 order per person just on their cardstock and their envelopes and their embellishments that they have. So it is an order-based class, a product-based class, but it's just not a huge product-based, but it's at least 15. So I would give this free with a minimum of a $40 order. So it's a pretty hefty order for them to be able to get that for free. Now the $30, the only thing that I include are the cards and the envelopes. So there's no extra thing included here. In order to be able to get this for free, you have to keep your expenses down pretty minimally. Usually at a Stamp-A-Stack, half order and half don't. So if you have 10 people, 5 of them are going to, you're going to be collecting $150 in cash from them. And then the other ones, we would be putting in an order that's over $40. So now you're looking at least a $300 order most likely. So you're making, your 35% off of that. So you're making another $100 to $150. Put those together, your cash you're bringing in is almost $300 for a Stamp-A-Stack. Plus you're getting the sales when you price it this way. Now this option B is actually how I price my Stamp-A-Stacks, and I do them $30, same cost, but it includes an embellishment. So I'll show you the one I just did last week. So it included their own bolt of the linen ribbon, and then I used this on all the cards. So I don't have to provide any more embellishments. I mean, I might have to put some rhinestones or something like that, or pearls or a doily, very inexpensive ones, but they're going to be using that linen thread on all of their cards. So this one, it includes the embellishment, the cardstock for the 16 cards, and the envelopes. And then that night, if they put in an order that's at least $25, then they get their class for half price. So they save $15. So basically, they're going to get at least $25 in product for just $10. Why wouldn't they do that? A lot of them do order because it's a great deal. Now, for me, I'm still getting $15 per person, so that covers all of the expenses that I have going into it. And then everything after that is just my profit. So if they're putting in a minimum of a $25 order or a $30 order, I'm getting my instant income and my volume rebate off of that. So I am making the same amount of money, but I'm getting my sales as well. So this is what I'm talking about, that you can have a class and get cash and get paid and get your sales. So you get both of those. And then I get the host rewards to replace any supplies that I used of my own, and I really didn't, because all of the supplies were paid for with their money. So if you struggle with spending your money to run classes, these are the kind of classes that you should run because you're collecting their money and using their money to pay for all of the supplies. I'll show you a sample of my last Stamp-A-Stack. By the way, I didn't show you any project in the Stampin' Bingo just because I use 3 simple cards usually. But here is one of my cards. See, I use that linen thread on all of them. Stamp-A-Stacks have got to be very simple stamping. So this is just, trees a couple times. There's some glitter on it. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so there's one. This was the next one. Look, this one had very little stamping. It was just a snowman, and they ran it through the embossing folder. So again, really, really simple. Here was this one. So again, it included that linen, the linen braided there. So there's that one. And then here was my last one. Let's see if I've got it here. Oh, so pretty. So again, just stamping. And anyway, they love this one, the very non-traditional color. So you can see Stamp-A-Stacks have got to be simple stamping because they're going to make 16 cards in one night, and it included their envelopes. So that's what was included for my Stamp-A-Stack at $30. And then some, I would say, half pay me just the flat $30, and the other half still put orders in. So a typical Stamp-A-Stack, I'll have $400 to $500 in sales. Plus, I will have collected a couple $100 in cash. So you get both. Now, things to consider. You can do these year-round. So every single month you can do a Stamp-A-Stack. People who send cards like to get bulks of cards. You will need a Carl cutter or some sort of industrial type cutter. I have not found one yet that's better than the Carl cutter for the price. They're about $100. But if you're going to be cutting 16 cards a person and you have 10 people coming, that's 160 cards. You have to have a Carl cutter. Otherwise, you'll be cutting for hours and hours and hours, and it's so much worth it to have a Carl cutter. So if you want to know, I use the DC210. It's the 12-inch model, so it's the cheaper model, and it fits better on my table because it's a little bit smaller. I never have to cut anything longer or wider than 12 inches, so it works perfectly. So those are the things to consider with a Stamp-A-Stack. I run mine year-round, and I just theme it. So the first few months of the year are birthday, and then I do like an all occasion, so it's like a thinking of you, thank you, and then I do like a masculine. And then I'll do like brides and babies. And then starting in July, I do 4 months or 5 months of Christmas. So we do Christmas card Stamp-A-Stacks. Christmas card Stamp-A-Stacks for about 5 months. So it's fun. All right, the next one is a card buffet. In big letters, I don't recommend card buffets. They are not for new demonstrators. They're not even for I don't like card buffets. They are a lot of work. They are a ton of work, and you don't get paid any more for them than you do for doing a Stamp-A-Stack. So if I'm going to be doing an event, I'm going to do a Stamp-A-Stack that takes me a couple hours to prepare for, not a card buffet that can take a long time. And they're kind of confusing there. But let's talk about it, because some people do card buffets, and they like them. So, but the one thing is that you really have to make sure you have proper pricing. Most people do card buffets and charge per card, like $2 a card or something. That's a flat fee. Remember, flat fees are not good. Flat fees, you do not get sales. You just get a fee. We want you to get a fee plus get sales. So if you're going to do a card buffet, I have done a few over the years, so that's why I don't do them, is because there's so much work. And I don't feel like I make any more money than doing one of my other classes. But some people do them successfully, so it might be something that you might want to try at some point, but just be very forewarned that they are a lot of work, And I don't think you make any more money than you do off a regular class. So I'm not afraid of work. Like, my retreats are a lot of work, but I make a lot of money to subside for that work. Where a card buffet is a lot of work, and I make the same amount as I did at a normal card class or a Stamp-A-Stack, which are a half the work that you would do for a card buffet. The concept of a card buffet is that you have a whole buffet of cards, and people get to pick and choose what they want. They can make 2 of this one, 3 of that one of each. It's a buffet. You get to choose. It's up to you. So these are a lot of work and hard to handle inventory unless you're well established. So if you do a card buffet every month, then it gets easier, because what you do is you will roll over some of the cards from your last month that you still have packets left over. Again, you don't know how much to cut for. You're assuming to cut for 20 of this one, 10 of this one, whatever you have, and then you're just going to guess how many people will use what. I do not cut for them more. Once the packet is gone, it's gone. Once the shoebox or the box is gone, it's gone. There's no more of that one left. Now I may roll it over into the next month, so they will have more of them next month. So you can roll, so say you do 8 different cards for a card buffet. Maybe every month you bring only additional 4 new cards. The other 4 will be ones that you carry over from the month before. Hopefully that makes sense. So a typical cost of this, I would price it the same as a Stamp-A-Stack, that it's $30 or free with a minimum of a $40 order. So basically, they're going to make as many cards as they can. You time it for 2 to 3 hours, up to 16. So after 16, they don't get to make any more cards. They're done. And if you think 16 is too much, you can do 15 or 12. The 16 is, again, I base it the same as like a Stamp-A-Stack. So I would do 16 cards so they can make 2 of each if they want to. They can make 3 of one. I have people come and make 10 of one because they loved that one so much. That's not really nice because that takes the supplies from somebody else, but I've had it happen. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut for an unspecified amount of cards depending on your supply stock. So if these are your 4 cards that you're going to do, I had these here for a sample private class. So these are some good private class cards. I use a little bit of the Big Shot. So I use the Big Shot usually just once or twice. So this card uses the Big Shot. The rest of them might just be like, this was a super easy card, but really pretty. So this is a great private class card. And then this one is just stamping, but again, it's using a new stamp set. And then this one is took some punching and some designer series paper, so a little bit of ribbon. These were perfect private class cards. So like say you were doing these for a card buffet, then you might have like 10 cut of this one because you have the supplies. Well, this one you have supplies for 20, so go ahead and cut for 20. This one you might cut for 20, and this one you might cut for 12. So you cut for what you've got. You kind of cut for a guesstimate. Eventually, once you do card buffets enough, you'll have a really strong idea of what you'll need per card. But then when the bucket's empty, the bucket's empty. And then maybe you'll roll it over to the next month, or you'll replace it with a new card the next month. So hopefully that makes sense. So it's not a specified amount of how much you cut for. You cut what you have supplies for. When a card supply is gone, that one is done. And then you can rotate those cards out that month and then bring in some new one. This is a great way to use leftover packets. So if you have lots and lots of packets left over, if you have a class that maybe you had to cancel or something and you still have everything's cut, that's the time to do a card buffet. That's when I do a card buffet, is when I've got a lot of packets left over, or if I had a class where I had to cancel it, so I had the stuff cut, I will roll it into, if I can't reschedule it, I will roll it into a card buffet so I can use up all these packets that I have. I'll pick 8 cards. I might have to cut some more to bring them up to the number. It all depends on how many people you have coming. But the pricing on a card buffet still needs to be free with the purchase. Don't charge per card. So I do a flat $30. That includes 16 cards. You can make, maybe you only get 12 done. You only get 12 done. But they get to make up to 16 cards in their card buffet. All right, let's go on. We've got 3 more in about 5 minutes. So some of these are easy. A new catalog event. So I call them holiday catalog launch party, a new catalog party. What we do not call them is an open house, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. You can run these whenever a new catalog comes out, so at least 3 times a year. These are in addition to your regular card classes. I love them because these don't compete with your normal schedule. It actually boosts your normal schedule. We want our customers coming here and falling in love with the product, so their wish lists grow, and then their orders will grow at all of their future classes that they come to. It's also a time for you to advertise for your classes, so your customers can see what you have coming up, and they can sign up for them, or they can pick a date for an upcoming private class or a workshop. So I like to run these at the very end of a catalog. So let's say I would do this like on January, I wouldn't do January 1st, but maybe January 2nd. So that way they can still order from the old catalog if there's something that they forgot to get or haven't gotten yet. But then, so I'd have to key the order in that night. Or they could put in an order for the new catalog, and then you'll just hold on to it until January 3rd when you can actually key it in. So you could run this anytime the last week of December, beginning of January. Same thing when the new book comes out in June. Run it the last week of May, beginning of June. So that way they can, it's kind of neat to be able to do that. Now, if you can't, just run it into the very beginning of the new catalog, and then it'll only be new catalog sales. This is where my customers also get to come and pick up their new catalog. You will want to have your future classes on display, at least a few of them, and some of maybe not the whole class, but some of it. Whenever they see your projects in person, they're so much more powerful because of that. These are not open houses. That means we do charge for them. They do have to RSVP. Open houses, the connotation is you just drop in if you want to, and you don't have to. It's an open house. Just come and say hi and look and touch. We don't want that in our business. We want RSVPs. We want them stamping make and takes, and we want to know if they're coming or not coming. Having to RSVP and pay makes them accountable. An open house means if something better comes along, I'm going to choose that. If something more important comes along, and that usually is what happens. When I know people who run open houses, they are rarely successful because people just don't show. And then they put so much work into them, and then they get frustrated that something was wrong with their stamping or their classes, or no one wants to stamp with them. It's simply because you called it an open house. So you can run it like from 2 to 5, and they can come whenever they want to, but they have to RSVP and they're paying. So the cost of this is $15 or free with a minimum order that night. We want them ordering. We want them building up a wish list. And if they just pay me the $15 that night, that's fine, because I know that their wish list is growing. A lot of my team members will come to this and they'll pay $15. Absolutely fine. I don't want their orders, but they will go home and put all their orders in themselves. So this is great for our team to come and experience. This is great for my customers to come and experience. And most of my customers will have an order there. And then they'll have an order ready at the first class they come to. And then they'll have an order ready at the third class they come to. All because they fell in love with it right away. So I love a new catalog event. Now, things to consider is just doing a fun raffle while you're there. This is what I put in there. Is that they get a raffle ticket if they bring a guest with them. They'll get an extra raffle ticket if they book a party or a private class or a workshop. If they place an order that day, maybe you'll give them another raffle ticket. If they sign up for any of your classes and pay for it, don't just put your name on it, they have to actually pay for it, then they get another raffle ticket. Then you do a drawing for like a little prize basket or something. This just is fun. It's a lighthearted event. It's not like I usually do just 4 to 5 make and takes, and they're simple make and takes. It's just using and seeing the new product in person. All right, love them. These are something that will really help you boost your sales, not just at that event, but all your sales that you have at all your classes will be strengthened because your customers will really connect with the catalog and the product. Okay, open houses. I do not recommend them. Don't do them. Don't call them. Just straight up because of experience. And I see I could tell you so many of my new downline members or training clients that are so discouraged because they've done open houses and then no one shows up. I'm like, it was because you called it an open house. What an open house is exactly what I just covered. A new catalog event, a new catalog launch, a new catalog party. Just don't call it an open house. If you want to kick off your business, call it a new catalog launch party or my new business launch. Don't call it an open house. Okay. Next one, I have 2 more to go. We have a Super Saturday event. A Super Saturday is a day where you pick one day, and usually it's a Saturday. So you might have a Super Sunday if you want to do yours on a Sunday. And this is basically just holding multiple classes in one day. I love these. This is how I hold all of my extra classes because I have 3 awesome class ideas. I don't have 3 days throughout the month to be able to offer them. And neither do my customers. My customers can't spend 5 days here at my studio. Their loved ones would not be happy. So it's not always because of their checkbook. It's because the day's away. So I'll pick one day and offer 3 classes in one day. Now, you might have a space where you can set up all 3 classes. So let's say you have 12 people who come. 4 can work on one class, 4 can work on another, and 4 can work on the other one, so that none of them are busy, they're not overcrowded, and they can just rotate to the next class when they're done with the one. Now, if your space is limited, you would do one class from 10 to 12, the next one from 12 to 2, and the next one from 2 to 4. So that one you're there a little bit longer, but you have to keep that. You can do that. So you can do this right in your own studio at home or wherever you hold your normal classes. It would just have to be a little tricky with the transition, but it can definitely be done. So basically, you're holding the multiple classes in one day. Each class should be a product-based class. So for every class, they're going to have a piece of product included. So guess what? They take all 3. That's like a $50 order for you. That's awesome. And for them, they don't know they're ordering. They're just paying $75 for their class fees. You're getting a $50 order plus the shipping and tax, and then the rest of it you get is your profit. Yay for profit. And you're getting paid your volume rebate and your instant income. Lots of profit. Now, this also gives versatility to your customers. Some people might only be able to afford one class. So for them to come to a $75 class, they would have said no. But now they can come take one, and or you have ladies that just have their credit card and say, sign me up for all of them, and they can afford to take 3. So it gives versatility, and some of them come and take 2. So I love this because it gives choices to my customers, and I can fit into every person's pocketbook that way. Typically, you would offer 3 classes at $25 a piece. Sometimes I've done them differently, like one's $30, one's $20, one's $25. I get confused. So now I get confused. How much is that worth? So now I just do, all of them are $25. You could do one of them as an order-based class. Let me explain that real quick. You can't do 2 classes that are free with a purchase, because what's going to happen is they're going to put in one order and expect both classes for free. Even if, I can give a class that's $18 or free with a purchase, and they're going to put in an order of $50 because that was what they would have spent no matter what. But if I give them 2 classes that are $18 or free with a minimum of a $25 order, and they put in that same $50 order, they're going to expect both of those classes for free. And they would have put the order in anyway. So basically, you're just giving them that other class. So I only do one of them can be an order-based class. So let's say you do a card class that is $18 or free with a $25 order, and then just 2 $25 classes. And as an example, one of them would be a stamp set class. So they have a stamp set. This was a $25 class, and they made 5 cards. Okay, this is a $17 stamp set. And this was also the $25 class. So a pack of paper, bolt of ribbon, they made 5 cards or 6 cards. And another $25 class was my cancer class, my cancer one I just did. It included a pack of paper, and it included the case and a bolt of ribbon. So those are all examples of $25 classes. Those are product-based classes. So I would combine them together so that I actually have 3 $25 classes for them to choose from. Now, if you want to make one of them just a simple card class, then you could do that one for $18 or free with an order, but only one of them can do that. So that way you're going to get 2 classes where they're going to pay $25 a piece, and then the one card class where you might also get an order from them as well. If they don't order, it's okay. If they order all 3 classes, because you're getting a $50 order, $50 in product between all of those classes if you're doing 3 classes at $25. There you go. I think that explains all that in there. They do have to pay for these in advance because you have to order product in advance. The only one I don't make them pay for in advance is the card class. If that was their choice to sign up for that one, they can pay for it there, or they would put in their order and then it'll be free. Things to consider. It's important to have a helper. These can be a little chaotic. You might be helping someone on one class, and someone might run out of paper on another. So I always like to have a helper at my Super Saturdays, always. And for her, she just gets to come and make the classes for free, and that's more than enough payment. She's more than happy with that to come with me for the day. The week beforehand is actually the hardest part. The day runs real smooth, but you have to remember you're prepping for 3 different classes. So just plan ahead and make sure that you have your cutoff for registration done early enough so you're leaving yourself enough time to be able to prepare. This maximizes your time. One day and do 3 classes. Let's say you had the same 10 people that would have come to your classes normally, but if they come and take all the classes, you took the same day, and instead of only having 10 classes, you could sold upwards of 30 classes, or somewhere around there. So it really maximizes your time. You get paid, I just got paid triple what I would have gotten paid for those hours that I worked had I only offered one class. Classes need to be simple in prep work and simple in stamping, because each one should only take about 2 hours or less. So no long coloring, no funky folds or techniques, not a lot of big shot work. They can have a lot of big shot work, but you have to do it in advance. So we want things to run through really much just assembling, a stamp, and an assemble. So you have to do a lot of the prep work to begin with. So just make sure that there's, like I wouldn't do a class that had 10 cards. The max I'll do might be 5. Again, it's only a $25 class, so it's not like they're paying a lot of money either. So, but if they come and take all 3, so it's a $75 class. Now they're making their 15 to 20 projects, but they're doing but they're paying for it. So hopefully that makes sense. You have to keep your projects simple to prep for too, because you got to prepare for 3 classes the week ahead of time. So the last thing on here is a kids class. I love kids classes. I used to do a lot of them. And I still do them today. I do birthday parties for kids, but I make sure I get paid for my time. And I have I have 4 kids, but I do birthday parties for my kids. And if I take them to like a skating rink or a bowling alley, or if I take them to those no jump places, it is $20 a kid to $25 a kid. So no matter what, birthday parties cost about $25 a kid. So that's what I charge for my kids' classes, are $25. I always use a paper pumpkin kit now, always. Everyone gets their own paper pumpkin kit. So I have $5 per person that I'm making, plus my profit from the paper pumpkin. So the registration will have to go in. Sometimes I'll order past kits, so if they're available, or I'll use the kit that's coming out, and I'll just, they'll make what's in there, and I'll make a couple of variations or something. And this way, each kid gets their own stamp set and their own ink pad, and then I tell the mom, they get to keep it and take it home with them. So you know how you do like a party and you have like a little goodie bag for them to take home, like a favor, like a party favor. They have to pay for that on top of everything. This is their party favor. They get to take that home with them. So the moms love it. And I'm the entertainment, and I'm usually there for about 2 hours, and we make the things that are in there, but then we also, and I do a monkey see, monkey do. So as I'm doing it, they do it. Now they always change their projects, and they always make it their own, and I don't care. It's absolutely fine. The only thing I have to provide is adhesive. So I bring snails or glue. I bring glue sticks actually, or I bring like dimensionals or whatever. Sometimes that stuff is in there, and sometimes it's not. So it depends on the kit. And I always have them make a card at the end thanking their mom for letting them come to the class or letting them come to the party. So you could do this for a class as well. I meant to say that. So this can be for a kid's birthday party, or it can be for a kid's class. So you could run a monthly class for kids, and I love it with paper pumpkin. But I always have them make a card for their mom, and I have them make a wish list. So the last 15 minutes, I let them sit through the catalog and look through what they want and write it on a piece of paper on a wish list. And then that goes to their mom as a thank you card for letting them come to kids class. Now, for my birthday or for Christmas, this is what I would like. So that is how I always end all of my kid classes. So anyway, the last one I have on here is a Mom and Me class. I think we're going to cover that next time with the rest of these that are on here. Oh boy, we're going to be pushed for time next week, but I knew the retreat would take a little bit longer. I think the rest of these are pretty easy, except for a few things. But thanks for tuning in. We have one more week left that will be chock full of, I think there's 10 more events that we're going to cover on the pricing of. So good luck getting these into your calendar, and now when you do, you can feel rest assured that you are going to have it on solid foundation when it comes to your pricing structure. Bye-bye. See you next week.